Jorma Vuoksenmaa, time flies when you're having fun. It's late October already, and now it's time to grade the teams of the biggest European club competitions. Let's start with Spain and La Liga. Who are the most underrated teams there?
Well, definitely Leganes. They were expected to be one of the worst ones before the season started. But again, when a team is humble and disciplined and puts focus on defense and builds up the team around the defense, they can do pretty well against the better ones. When I look these expected goals numbers, shots, possession, penetration to the attacking third and so on, Leganes is surprisingly good side. Their coach Maurice Pellegrino has put a lot emphasis on defending, and now we have the players, we have built up the team once again around that philosophy. And their expected goals numbers say that they might be even slightly better than they have showed so far. The betting market has not found out that Leganes is better than they have shown, and their expectations have been pretty low. So Leganes might be good value. Even with unders and as a dog getting goals, because they play five-man defense, and as said, they play it very nicely. One more thing about Leganes is that it's not the numbers, it's as well how they look like. They are not a quality team, they are not a good team, but their profile is exactly the profile of a team which easily gets underrated by a betting market. They are good in special situations, and they allow opponents to go wide and then try to center the ball, because they can defend nicely against those crosses. They allow opponents to shoot, but from long range, and that explains why their allowed expected goals number is such a good figure. So I like a lot of Leganes, and I doubt if not many syndicates or heavy bettors like Leganes that much.
What do you think about Villarreal?
Yes, yeah, you know that we discussed a bit before that production, and Villarreal is, as you said, another team which can be better than the majority of people believes. Their thing is that they might be much, or they are much better than last season, but their kind of, brand or what people think about Villarreal can suffer a lot from the chaotic last season. If I understand right, they sacked their coach Javi Cahia and then employed him back again. But of course, the last season did not get better about that kind of, team owners, management and orders. But they have built up good defensive unit by wise buyings, and they seem to be pretty good on counterattacking. And because they can keep the games tight, they might be a good investment as an underdog against the top three teams.
Right, so Leganes and Villarreal, they are underrated, but who's overrated?
I'm not happy to say Granada because I kind of like Granada and Cinderella stories, how they came back to the highest level, and I like Granada as a place. Alhambra is a very impressive place to see, and the old architecture, and they are crazy for football. But back to the facts and reality, the team simply isn't good enough. Pre-season, we and even the betting market rated Granada as the second or third worst team of La Liga, and now they are top of the league. And the betting market, and especially the bettors who bet in closest bets, they overreact always to the league table. And Granada, I hate to say this, but they have been very lucky in their scoring chances. They have scored, I guess, 8 goals or something more than their expected goals is, and that is a lot. Granada's defense, we expected that to be good and decent, and in the defensive side, they have not been that unbelievably lucky as in their finishing, but they are overbet team, and we need to throw the feelings out of window, remain in professional reality, and bet against Granada, unfortunately.
So the top teams have faced many difficulties this year.
Yeah, Granada leading.
Yeah, so does that mean that there are other overrated teams as well?
Well, hard to say, because the expectations were so big and the teams are so good, and money-wise, if you look their spend and to the salaries and to the market value of the players, of course, the top 2 and nowadays even Atletico should have received more points already. If you look their figures and how the teams look like, they are not performing that well either, so it's kind of complicated situation. In Barcelona's case, the team might have been slightly unlucky with injuries, and secondly, they might be a bit undisciplined, which is quite common for that kind of really good teams. But it's a tight, nothing is lost. If I remember right, they are a tight bunch, 18, 19 points, and the situation should turn better. Actually, Atletico Madrid might look best as the 3 big ones at the moment, even if, of course, in normal circumstances, Barca and Real should be better. Namely, Atletico defends well and disciplined, and they have not allowed that much expected goals to their own goal. But if you read reports and occasionally watch parts of games and so on, there are, I repeat, no kind of very visible or obvious reasons to crisis, as the Spanish media tries to find with each team. In my book, no. That might mean, when you build up your Colossus bets tickets, is that actually these 3 good teams are not that easy selections to go against, as occasionally normally in normal years and in visiting games, because now people do not bet that heavily and without any sights to other directions. Now when those good teams have slipped points here and there, they might offer slightly better value, and because you occasionally need big favorites to your Colossus Bets tickets in order not to bet over difficult lines, these Spanish big teams are not necessarily a bad choice, to wrap it up.
So, long story short, did I understand correctly that if I go and fill out Colossus Bet Syndicate, so I try to avoid Granada and then try to add more Leganes and Villarreal and maybe the big teams as well?
Yeah, big teams, I'm quite neutral. Obviously, the very best idea is Leganier, because nobody thinks that they are any kind of quality team, and you get almost in all kind of situations you get good value. Say in a game, their Leganier is in our book say 40% home favorite. The match might be level bet in Colossus Bets 33% home, drawn away, and then obviously you get very good value because you hit with 40% probability, but the value of your Colossus Bet line gets 3 times your stake.
So last question, we all remember Leicester. Can Granada go all the way?
No,